There is a quiet frustration that sets in when you realize you have done everything right, yet your body still feels like a house on fire. You did your breath work in the morning, you sat in meditation, you set your boundaries, and you had a peaceful few hours. But then, a single minor event, a slightly delayed text response, a subtle shift in a colleague's tone of voice, or a dropped cup in the kitchen instantly triggers a massive biological cascade. Your throat tightens, your chest constricts, your heart begins to hammer against your ribs, and your thoughts spiral into a frantic worst-case scenario. It is as if an invisible rubber band has snapped you right back into a state of high alert, erasing all your hard-earned progress in a fraction of a second. You ask yourself why your body refuses to stay calm. You wonder if your brain is simply too damaged to heal, or if you lack the discipline to master your own emotions. You feel a deep, heavy sense of self-defeat, watching yourself get pulled back into the same loops of anxiety, reactivity, or total shutdown, no matter how many healing practices you try. If this is familiar, if you recognize that exhausting, automatic snapback to a state of high tension, what you are facing is not a failure of your recovery, a lack of willpower, or a biological defect. According to Dr. Gabor Maté's pioneering work on trauma and human development, your nervous system is not malfunctioning when it resets to dysregulation. It is doing exactly what it was trained to do. It is returning to its home base, an invisible biological baseline that it calibrated decades ago to keep you alive. And until you understand why your body has categorized peace as a threat and dysregulation as its only true safety, you will continue to use the tools of healing to fight yourself instead of understanding yourself. This is not a quick-fix guide on how to force your body to stay calm. This is an exploration of the hidden biology behind your default settings, designed to help you understand why your nervous system keeps resetting to high alert and how to gently rewrite the original survival script your body is still running. For generations, we have lived under a profound misunderstanding about what it means to heal. We have been taught to treat our psychological and physical symptoms as isolated mechanical failures. We look at our chronic anxiety, our sudden panic, our digestive disorders, and our emotional crashes, and we ask, what is wrong with me? We buy the latest biohacks, try the newest somatic exercises, and practice positive thinking, believing that if we can just perform these self-care protocols correctly, our bodies will comply. But Gabor Maté's clinical work consistently reveals that our symptoms are not mistakes, they are adaptations. From a trauma-informed perspective, our nervous system is not a machine that needs to be kept running at a smooth, constant speed. It is an organ of survival. Its primary baseline is calibrated in our earliest years of life in direct response to our environment. As infants and young children, our brains physically develop their neural pathways based on the emotional atmosphere of our home. We require co-regulation, the safe, attuned, and consistent presence of a caregiver to teach our developing brains that it is safe to drop our guard. But if you grew up in a home where the emotional weather was unpredictable, where caregivers were stressed, distracted, volatile, or emotionally absent, your nervous system did not receive that vital signal of safety. To survive, your young body had to make a compromise between its two most essential needs, attachment and authenticity. Attachment is connection, it is our survival. Authenticity is selfhood, it is our ability to feel our feelings and set our boundaries. When your authenticity threatened your attachment, when showing your anger brought criticism, or showing your sadness made you an inconvenient burden, attachment had to win. Your young nervous system made a brilliant protective decision. It chose to suppress your authenticity to secure your connection. This doesn't mean you're broken. It means your mind learned to protect you. You learned to stay vigilant. You learned to keep your muscles braced, your breathing shallow, and your mind scanning for threat. Because in your childhood home, being caught off guard was the most dangerous thing that could happen to you. Your nervous system calibrated its baseline thermostat to a high-voltage state of survival. The body remembers what the mind was forced to forget. As an adult, When you try to force your body to stay calm using modern wellness tools, your nervous system experiences a deep biological conflict. Your conscious mind wants peace, but your subconscious survival brain looks at the quiet and thinks, "This is too quiet. I am unguarded. This is dangerous." Your body treats calm like a trap, and so it quickly snaps you back to the familiar, high alert state of dysregulation, because that is the baseline it associates with staying alive. Let us look at 3 profound patterns that explain why your nervous system keeps resetting to this dysregulated home base. And the third pattern is the deepest, most invisible loop of all. But before we reveal the first pattern, there is an anticipation you must hold. We often believe our dysregulation is caused by our adult stressors, but more often, it is maintained by how our biology has defined the temperature of our safety. The first pattern keeping you locked in chronic dysregulation is the thermostat of the familiar. Every nervous system has a default settings thermostat. If your early life was calm and attuned, your thermostat was set to peace. When a stressor occurs, your temperature rises. But once the threat passes, your system easily returns to its default setting of calm. But if you grew up in a chaotic, unpredictable, or highly demanding environment, your thermostat was set to high alert. To your biology, high levels of cortisol and adrenaline became your normal baseline. As an adult, when your life finally becomes quiet, or when you try to regulate your nervous system through somatic practices, your temperature drops toward peace. But because your biological thermostat is still set to high alert, your brain looks at this low temperature and panics. It interprets the calm as a malfunction, a drop in defense, or a sign of impending danger. So, your system immediately seeks to raise the temperature. Your brain begins to search for problems. It scans your relationships for signs of rejection, overanalyzes casual comments from your boss, or invents catastrophic worries about your health or your future. If it cannot find an external threat, it will use your own thoughts to create the anxiety your body feels it needs to return to its familiar, high-voltage baseline. That is not weakness. That is intelligence in service of survival. Your body is not failing. It is simply trying to return to the only biological state it has ever associated with staying alive. You're not addicted to drama. Your nervous system is addicted to the chemical familiarity of stress because it has never learned that safety can be soft. And this is where the survival strategy turns inward, leading us into the second trap. The second pattern is the somatic backlog of suppressed truth. You spend your days trying to regulate your nervous system while simultaneously ignoring the actual reality of your life. You use breathing exercises to lower your heart rate at a job that is destroying your spirit. You use meditation to calm your panic in a relationship where your boundaries are systematically ignored. You use somatic tracking to soothe the tension in your chest while continuing to say yes to demands that leave you completely depleted. You are treating your regulation practices as an anesthesia, trying to quiet the alarm while staying inside the burning house. From a trauma-informed perspective, this is a profound biological misunderstanding. Gabor Maté's clinical work consistently shows that the body and the mind are a single, indivisible system. Your nervous system does not operate in a vacuum. It responds to your truth. When you suppress your authentic feelings, your healthy anger, and your non-negotiable boundaries to maintain connection with others, that biological energy does not vanish. It is stored as a somatic backlog in your physical tissues. The body remembers what the mind was forced to forget. You cannot regulate a nervous system that you are actively asking to self-abandon. Every time you swallow your voice, ignore your fatigue, or tolerate mistreatment, your amygdala registers that you are in a state of threat. No amount of box breathing or cold plunging can convince your brain that you are safe when your daily life requires you to abandon yourself to survive. Not because something was wrong with you, because something was wrong with the dynamic that forced a child to become invisible to be loved. Your chronic dysregulation is not a mechanical failure of your nerves. It is the physical protest of your biology. It is your body's brilliant, desperate attempt to say the no that your lips are too afraid to speak. But the next pattern is the one that runs the deepest of all. It is the pattern most people refuse to see in themselves because we have been trained to treat our own survival armor as our actual identity. Before we reveal this final pattern, consider this. The most difficult part of healing is realizing that the very patterns you are trying to change are the ones that are protecting you from your deepest grief. The third pattern, the deepest one, is the sanctuary of the armor. Your dysregulation is not just a habit, it is a shield. When you are anxious, reactive, or hypervigilant, your mind is completely occupied with the threat. You are thinking about what people think of you, how to fix the next problem, how to avoid criticism, or how to stay in control. This constant mental and physical activity is incredibly exhausting, but it serves a vital biological purpose. It keeps you from feeling your raw, unresolved pain. According to Dr. Gabor Maté, when a child's emotional pain is too overwhelming to tolerate and they have no safe adult to help them process it, the brain must find a way to lock that pain away. Your young nervous system built an armor of dysregulation to act as a distraction. By keeping your system vibrating with anxiety, worry, and reactivity, your brain ensures that you are always looking outward. You are too busy trying to survive the external world to ever drop your attention down into the deep, quiet, and terrifying reservoir of grief, loneliness, and unworthiness that lives underneath your protection. Your dysregulation is the bodyguard that keeps your softest, most broken parts from being exposed. Now, as an adult, when you try to regulate your nervous system, when you try to sit in absolute quiet, slow your breath, and drop your armor, the bodyguard steps aside. And the moment the bodyguard steps aside, the old frozen grief begins to rise. You feel a sudden terrifying emptiness, a deep sadness, or a primal fear that has nothing to do with your present life. Because this feeling is so uncomfortable, your survival brain instantly sounds the alarm. It snaps you right back into anxiety, reactivity, or overthinking to put the armor back on. That is not weakness, that is intelligence in service of survival. You are not failing to regulate, you are simply encountering the immense depth of your own unshed tears. Your body is resetting to dysregulation because it still believes that feeling your authentic pain would be fatal. You are not broken, you adapted. You survived environments that required you to brace yourself, live in your head, and sacrifice your own truth just to stay connected. Your chronic snapback to anxiety, your physical tension, and your inability to stay calm are not proofs of your inadequacy. They are the living monuments to your resilience. But you do not have to live on the battlefield anymore. According to Dr. Maté, healing does not begin with trying to force your nervous system to be calm. It begins with changing how you relate to your own dysregulation. It begins with shifting from, "Why can't I stay calm?" to, "I see how hard you're trying to protect me, body." The single most powerful daily shift you can make to stop this snapback loop is to practice what is called somatic welcoming. The next time your nervous system resets to dysregulation, the next time you feel the sudden wave of anxiety, the tight jaw, or the racing thoughts, stop trying to fix it. Do not open your meditation app, do not try to breathe it away, and do not criticize yourself for falling back into old patterns. Instead, drop your attention down into your physical body. Locate the physical sensation of the dysregulation. Feel the flutter in your stomach, the pressure in your chest, or the heat in your face. Place a hand over that space, take a slow, gentle breath into that tightness, and speak to your own body with the unconditional tenderness of a parent holding a frightened child. Say to your own physical sensation, "I feel how tight we are right now. I feel how much you want to protect me with this anxiety. It is okay that you are running this program. I am right here with you. We are allowed to feel this tension." When you welcome your dysregulation instead of fighting it, you do something revolutionary. You provide your nervous system with the safety it has been crying out for since childhood. You are showing your body that you are no longer going to treat its protective armor as a crime. You are teaching your brain that you are finally strong enough, mature enough, and safe enough to hold your own discomfort. And in the presence of that safety, the biological thermostat slowly begins to recalibrate its baseline toward genuine organic peace. This is slow, quiet, and deeply patient work. It will not change your biology overnight. You will still have days where the rubber band snaps you back. You will still have moments where the bodyguard takes over, but with every small choice to welcome your tension instead of running from it, with every moment you choose your own authentic truth over a cheap, people-pleasing connection, with every slow breath of compassion you offer to your racing heart, you are rewiring your brain. You are showing your cells, your heart, and your breath that the storm has passed, the war is over, and you are finally safe enough to come home. The same body that learned how to go numb and dysregulated to survive is fully capable of learning how to rest in the quiet sunshine of your presence. You do not have to fight your nature anymore. You just have to let it come back to life. Which of these patterns felt the most familiar to you? If conversations like this feel valuable, consider subscribing. There is nothing more transformative than understanding the story your body has been telling all along. Self-understanding will not change your past, but it can change the way your past lives inside you, and that changes everything. The hardest part of healing is realizing that your chronic dysregulation isn't a design flaw, it's the biological rubber band trying to pull you back to the only version of safety your body has ever known. Which of these patterns are you currently carrying, and how can you offer your body permission to sit with the quiet today? Why you can't stay calm, the regulation loop, nervous system reset. Why does your nervous system keep snapping back to anxiety, stress, and hypervigilance, even when you are doing everything right to heal? In this deeply validating video inspired by the psychological philosophy of Dr. Gabor Maté, we explore the hidden biology behind why our bodies keep resetting to a state of chronic dysregulation. Discover the thermostat of the familiar and how early childhood trauma forces us to prioritize attachment over authenticity, wiring our brains to treat calm as danger and stress as safety. We break down the 3 somatic patterns that maintain this loop, including our biological addiction to stress chemistry, the somatic backlog of our suppressed boundaries, and how dysregulation acts as a protective armor to keep us from feeling our unresolved grief. Learn how to stop fighting your body's survival responses and start using somatic welcoming to recalibrate your nervous system's home base from the inside out.